one of the most horrifying episodes in medical history.
These are just some of the thalidomide babies, thousands born worldwide.
It's most important that they check their medicine cabinet and that they do not take this drug.
A medication that confidently fought morning sickness. So safe, in fact, you can take it while pregnant. No prescription needed. This was how thalidomide was globally marketed. However, instead of ensuring the safety of this medication to pregnant women, the lack of oversight and regulation, with no corporate or institutional responsibility, led to catastrophic results.
The German company that developed thalidomide, Chemie Grunenthal, claimed that even pregnant women could take it.
Some without limbs, some blind, others deaf.
Thalidomide is a testament to unchecked pharmaceutical ambition. This horror forced greater government and corporate responsibility to better drug regulation.
We acknowledge both the physical hardship and the emotional difficulties,
enforcing rigorous safety standards to ensure patients' rights for medical transparency. This is medical malfeasance, the thalidomide tragedy. In the late 1950s, German pharmaceutical company Chemie Grunenthal introduced thalidomide into the global market. It was a sedative, a safe solution for insomnia, anxiety, and most notably, morning sickness in pregnant women. Marketed under various brand names including Connergan in Germany and Distaval by the Distillers Company in the UK. Thalidomide was lauded for its apparent safety. However, the drug's approval process was alarmingly negligent. At that time, regulation in many countries did not mandate comprehensive testing for the potential of a substance to cause birth defects.
Is there no international clearinghouse for reports on new drugs?
No, there's no such system in use at present.
Would it be useful?
Oh, certainly.
This oversight of international pharmaceutical companies allowed thalidomide to be marketed without adequate understanding of its risks to developing fetuses. Soon, these risks would become alarmingly apparent as a malign health crisis began across the globe. By the early 1960s, a surge in birth of children with severe deformities such as phocomelia, a condition where limbs are extremely shortened or absent, was reported. The culprit responsible? Heinrich Muchter. Muchter was a former Nazi director of virus research at the Buchenwald concentration camp who used Jewish prisoners of war for his experimental vaccines in clinical trials. After being arrested for war crimes, he escaped to Germany where he became the head of research at Chemie Grunenthal, where the sales motto was, "Succeed at any cost." Here, he created thalidomide, conducting the first tests only on other employees, but still pushing it without proper clinical trials, as Muchter himself received a bonus for every thalidomide pill sold worldwide.
And Heinrich Muchter, who was on a percentage of profits, moved from being modestly affluent to having so much money pouring in, he could have bought himself a new Mercedes every month.
Soon enough, thalidomide became the second most sold drug globally after aspirin. In 1961, Australian doctor William McBride discovered an unusual connection after delivering 3 babies whose mothers had taken thalidomide. He published a letter in the popular journal The Lancet, and the scientific community started to correlate the high rates of birth defects to thalidomide. The crisis was clear. Globally, over 10,000 children across 46 countries were affected. Thalidomide was unprecedented. In the United States, the William S. Merrill Company took over 2 million samples and sent them to doctors all over the country for free.
The story has always been that it hasn't been in the United States, or it wasn't released here as a prescription.
All the articles and the books that I've seen or read stated that the U.S. escaped the thalidomide tragedy.
In 1959, thalidomide was made available in free sample packets. No records have ever existed of the sample babies.
Merrill's ultimate goal was to familiarize doctors with the drug. This way, when the drug got approved in the United States, the doctors would be ready to prescribe thalidomide. However, the potential disaster was largely averted due to the diligence of Dr. Francis Oldham Kelsey, a medical officer at the Food and Drug Administration.
First appreciation to Dr. Kelsey, who spared us this terrible human tragedy which has been visited on families in Germany.
In 1960, Dr. Kelsey reviewed an application from the William S. Merrill Company to market thalidomide under the name Kevadon. Despite significant pressure from the company,
Dr. Frances Kelsey, she refused to approve sale of the drug in the United States.
She withheld approval, citing sufficient safety data, particularly concerning its effects during pregnancy. Dr. Kelsey's insistence on rigorous testing prevented widespread distribution of thalidomide in the U.S., sparing countless families from the drug's devastating effects. Her actions underscored the critical importance of thorough drug evaluation and the role of regulatory bodies in safeguarding public health. The United States reaction to the global tragedy led to the enactment of the Kefauver-Harris Amendment in 1962, which significantly strengthened the FDA's authority. Key provisions of the amendment included proof of efficacy and safety. Manufacturers were now required to provide substantial evidence of a drug's effectiveness and safety before it could be marketed. Informed consent. Participants in clinical trials had to be adequately informed about the potential risks and provide consent, ensuring ethical standards in human research. Adverse event reporting. Companies were mandated to report any adverse reactions promptly. Beyond the United States, the thalidomide disaster led to countries worldwide to re-examine and strengthen their drug approval and regulation processes. Global testing requirements became stricter, resulting in the establishment of regulatory agencies and the development of sounder pharmacological systems aimed to regulate drug safety post-approval. In 1968, several top officials from Grunenthal were put on trial. Despite overwhelming evidence linking the drug to severe birth defects, every executive was eventually acquitted. Germany's largest legal trial was fruitless, leaving the victims of thalidomide without reparations. Meanwhile, in Britain, the distiller's company only paid 40% of the damages caused by the drug, compensating a mere 62 people, while thousands more suffered for a lifetime.
Made it.
Pharmaceutical companies around the world delayed an official apology, leaving survivors to fight for recognition long after the scandal had faded from public attention. It wasn't until 2012 that Grunenthal issued an official apology.
We ask for forgiveness that for nearly 50 years we didn't find a way of reaching out to you from human being to human being. Instead, we've been silent, and we're very sorry for that.
Too little, too late.
Conservative estimates say that over 10,000 babies were born with thalidomide-induced disabilities, and these attempts at remedying the past seem futile and insincere, especially considering the amount of money they made. The thalidomide tragedy stands as a stark reminder that the pursuit of pharmaceutical innovation must never come at the expense of human life. However, it also serves as a pivotal moment in medical history that led to transformative changes in how drugs were being developed, tested, and approved. The reforms instituted in its aftermath have been instrumental in creating a more accountable and transparent pharmaceutical industry, ensuring that patient safety remains paramount. As we continue to advance in medical science, the lessons learned from thalidomide underscore the necessity of rigorous oversight and ethical responsibility to protect human rights in pharmaceutical development.
I just wanna go out on a walk with you. Baby, you know I just like to talk with you. You don't have to tell me anything that's new. I just wanna go out